Welcome back to the Glow Up Girl podcast. I'm Kyra. All right, let's welcome Ruchita into the show. Welcome.
Hi. Hi, Kara. How are you?
I am doing well. Well, first of all, I want to say thank you so much for joining the show today, for taking time out of your schedule to just have this discussion.
Yeah, I know. I'm very happy to be here.
Yes, awesome. Well, let's go ahead and dive in because I have lots of questions for you. First of all, why don't you tell the audience listening or watching out there who you are and what you do?
So, I'm Ruchita Acharya, and I'm founder of Green Beauty Co. Before starting my brand, Green Beauty Co., I also had a blog called Glow and Green, and that's my beauty blog, which was all about DIY beauty, and that turned into the book called Sustainable Beauty. But currently, I'm 100% working on Green Beauty Co., which is Ayurvedic, sustainable, minimalistic skincare brand, um, offering you non-toxic solutions with no more than 10 ingredients in any formula.
Awesome. I love that. So I know a lot of people listening and watching. One thing that, we have a lot of people who are budding entrepreneurs themselves, who are workingpreneurs, and it's often really cool to hear how someone got started. So can you tell us a little bit about your backstory and how did you get started with your blog and then transition to your business?
Sure. So I dealt with infertility, which they call it unexplained infertility. Um, and I on that time I used to live in East Coast in New York City area, and I moved to California. So I had no friends, and I had like miscarriages, and it was really lonely time. So I wanted to do something which is not just a planting a tree. Okay, you have miscarriage, plant a tree. I don't want to do that. I wanted to do something which I can remember throughout in a good way.
Mhm.
So I started this blog on April 17th of 2019, and I wanted to put down all my life, like what I'm eating, what I'm doing. But I
Mhm.
think the most I drawn into it's beauty, because when this kind of a thing happened, all family members and friends comes to me and they said, oh, you should eat this and you should not eat this, and you should do this kind of an exercise and blah blah blah. But
Mhm.
nobody talks about what you're putting on a skin, which is the biggest organ of your body. So because of that, I started doing DIY beauty and started creating my own skincare. And the way I started is, so when I started, I don't even know how to look for product ingredient, how, and I was like totally lost. So long story short, I started a course called uh, Diploma in Skincare Formulations along with my blog. And then once I finished my blog, I said I wanted to test these products to people. So with $250 investment, I bought some supplies.
Mhm.
I went into the farmer's market, which was a $55, which is a hefty cost
Mhm.
um, of the booth. And I went and sell those product to people. And I did this testing for 1.5 year. And after that, I came up with a very concise, minimalistic um, sort of um, a line, skincare line, which
Mhm.
only needs, every woman needs cleanser and a moisturizer. So
Mhm.
to answer to your question, this is how I all started. It started
Yeah.
with blog, then $250 of the investment, then
Mhm.
product market fit process, which happened 1.5 year. And last year in 2023, I officially launched saying that these are my products.
Mhm. Mhm. I love that, and I thank you for sharing that because I think it's important for people to understand. Like you took a leap. Like you stepped out there, you said, I'm going to invest. And it wasn't, I mean, don't get me wrong, it's a great deal of money anytime I have to spend any money on anything. But it still was something I think like planning out saying, I'm going to spend $250 and then I'm going to get a booth at the farmer's market. Like those were very tangible things
Yeah.
that you could do to support your business. And also the part that I think a lot of people miss when they are doing products is like the product research. You went out there to even see if it was something that people were
One.
interested in and wanted.
Yeah. Yeah, definitely. And I think that's very important
Mm-hmm.
because people think that skincare is a very saturated market. But from this product market fit process, I found out it's not.
Mm-hmm.
So
Yeah.
that's a really interesting thing I found out that
Mm-hmm.
I think you have to niche further down more, but
Yeah.
actually it's not a
Yeah.
like saturated market,
Yeah.
in my opinion.
And I think it also goes to like the point of like sometimes you have to do the work on the upfront, the research on the upfront before you launch something, because I think a lot, and I'm guilty of this myself, a lot of times you just want to get something out in the market and you're like, I'm gonna do it and see if it sticks. And you've spent a lot of money getting it out there. And then it doesn't work because you didn't take the time to do the research to see if there was a need, or even like you said, to even just be able to figure out like, is it a niche? Like, where do I need to focus? Where's the white space so that
Correct,
I'm able to fill that space for people? So,
correct, correct.
all right. So why don't you tell us? I mean, anybody who's an entrepreneur knows that it's not an easy life, right? It looks glamorous and it sounds good because you're like, oh, I'm working for myself. I'm doing all these things. But can you talk about some of the important lessons you've learned as you've been on this journey?
Well, one of the important lesson I learned, and I think I feel like I felt entrepreneurial journey is glamorous, but when before I started, but also it's more like a uh, I never felt lonely. Uh, Entrepreneurial journey it's very lonely, frankly. Like sometimes you are in like frustrated so much and there is no one to share, especially if you are a solopreneur. If you have a business partner, then of course you will share about your wins and thing. But I think that's one of the thing I learned during my entrepreneurial journey. It's lonely,
Mhm,
and you have to share your losses and you have to share your wins. Like, so in my opinion, it's one of those things that until you experience it, you don't know
mhm,
it. And I experienced it. So that's one of the biggest lesson I learned. And
mhm,
to mitigate that, what I did is I joined. So we have this small group of people who is the local brand owners,
mhm.
and you found your besties. You found your bestie no matter what, because if you are upfront, and I did, I we have 3 or 4 people, we just chatted every day, and they all are solopreneur, they all are doing
Mhm,
amazing job in their own brand and own space, but we just chat, whether it's about wins, whether it's about frustration, whether it's about, oh my God,
mhm,
this Shopify, this is not happening. And we just
mhm,
chatted with each other. So I think this is one of the biggest lesson I learned, that you need to be um, sort of uh, open, and
mhm,
you need to be create your own crew, because you
mhm,
are going to feel lonely.
mhm,
It's
mhm. Yeah, thank you for sharing that because I think that's very fair. It's a very fair point, and I think I experienced that too, and I've joined networking groups as well, so that because it's so much easier when you can talk to someone else. Because a lot of times I think what happens on my side, like I'm a workingpreneur, so like I have a full-time job, and so a lot of times, sometimes you get in those groups, and it's just people who are like doing their business full time. And
Yeah,
it's like you don't, I mean, you connect, but you're like, yeah, but like I have to do this and another job. And through some of the groups that I'm in, I've been able to connect with other people who still have full-time
So,
jobs.
yeah.
Because it's like we have a whole nother level of like frustrations and things that you talk about. So I think that it's really important, like you said, to be able to find your people, find your crew, and have those people who you're just talking to.
Yeah. Yeah, I totally with you because I do have full-time job too.
Yeah,
I totally resonates with you.
yeah,
This is
yeah.
the second job, and then I'm also mother, so that's a third job. So
Yeah, and it's like a whole nother set of like frustrations because I think as work entrepreneurs, you always think to yourself, and it could be the same thing, people, and I mean, no disrespect to anyone who's a full
no,
time entrepreneur at all. But
no.
it's like a lot of times when you get to experience, I was off this past week for like vacation from my full time job. And
Uh-huh.
so that left me with time to work on my business during the day. And
Yeah,
I was like, oh my God, like if I could just work on this like full time.
lot of time, right? Like,
Yeah.
and I mean, you realize the value of time, and also
Yes.
your creative mind opens up more.
Yes.
Not only how to work, like how do you start the email pitching and things like that.
Mhm.
It's
Yeah.
really helpful.
Yeah. And then it also like allows for like, the time where I have to usually push so many things like to the weekend. It's like, oh my God, do all these things on Saturday. I was able to do these things like I just picked Thursday and I said, oh yeah, I'm just gonna work Thursday like a regular day. And I worked my business about 7:30 to like 3, and I stopped to eat a sandwich like for lunch, but it was still like I was done at 3. And then that left me with time where I could sit down, I could like read, I could watch TV. But
Yeah,
it's such a, like you said, it's just the thing that like, wow, you're like, it's such an eye-opening experience when
it
you
is.
have that time, and then it makes you just want to figure out like even more like how can I get to this soon? Like how can this become my reality?
Yeah,
Yeah.
definitely, definitely.
Also, okay. So, all right. So while we are similarly talking about some challenges, as it looks, for us being entrepreneurs, what are there any other challenges that you say that you've had to overcome, like in life or business?
Well, in terms of life, it's a balancing act, right? So, and frankly speaking, time is always a limited commodity for everybody, and you just make it a time, like you just said, right? Like you just make it a time what is important for you.
Mm-hmm.
Your business, this podcast, and all those things are really important for you. So you just being very diligent of doing this because otherwise, I mean, it's like one of those things that, oh, I have to do it.
Yeah.
um, so that's one challenge. Always everyone feel that, oh, I have very limited time,
Mm-hmm.
whether it's for self-care, whether it's for business, whether it's for 9 to 5 job, whether it is whatever, right? So
Right.
that's one challenge I always feel. But in terms of so that's my overall personal life because I have 3-year-old and I'm only going to
Mm-hmm.
have one. So I really feel that I need to block this time and spend
Mm-hmm.
time with him. But I mean, today I have to go to the event, right? So,
Yeah.
so you feel that guilt factor no matter what.
Mm-hmm.
So balancing the act. So that's one challenge. The second
Mm-hmm.
challenge in terms of business, I feel that so I manufacture my own product, and
Mm-hmm.
I also I do co-packing and I do every single thing like marketing and everything.
Mm-hmm.
So one of the problem I'm facing is when you are manufacturing your own product, you are doing two businesses actually, in my
Mm-hmm.
opinion, because many of these brands, food brand, skincare brand, all the CPG brand, I should say,
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
um, they do have co-packers. They do have someone who manufacture their product, and they are just dealing with marketing and whatnot, and they still feel swamped.
Mm-hmm.
So that's one of the thing I always face, and I really don't like to give that control yet to the co-packers.
Right.
And, and that's one of the challenge I really face. Sometimes I create something and I'm like, oh my god, this is so wrong, and I have to dump entire material. So that's my
Mhm.
material gone. That's my money
Right.
gone.
Yeah.
So I mean, you will face so many challenges, but there are
Yeah.
few of them.
Yeah.
Um, Also, I mean, my background is in creative background. Like I'm an architect by trade, so
Mhm.
um, I'm not a good with my coding and like all this website development and things like that.
Mhm.
So I spend numbers of hours dealing with, because if you give something to someone, it costs money, and
Mhm.
and money is, let's say, not a problem, but what's a guarantee that they will give you the exactly same thing what you have in the mind?
Mhm.
So you have to invest initially that
Mhm.
what exactly you want. So that's another challenge that
Yeah. Yeah.
a number of challenges. I can just make a list of 50 challenges of my life and make a book of.
Right. Yeah. No, no, definitely appreciate those. And I think that those are really good ones because I think a lot of people experience, that definitely can fill you on the balance and the time because it just feels like there's never enough time. And also, like you said, as far as feeling guilty about how you spend the time,
Yes,
because like I mean, I feel that often too. And I just have a husband and a puppy and I don't have children, but I feel the same thing where it's like you get to the weekends and there may be an event that you want to go to. Like I was looking, there was an event that I saw here. I live in Atlanta and I was like, oh, I'd like to go to that. But it was like Saturday and it was like an all day event. And I was like, oh, but I've got podcasts that day. And then that would mean if I want to go to that, then I have to try to figure out how to reschedule people. But then I have to try to work them in like after, work. And I was just like, you know what? I don't know if it's worth it. Maybe I just keep the schedule as is and I just don't go to the event. But it's always this like sort of dance that you're doing when
I
you,
totally feel you.
yeah, when you have an everyday job. And then it's like the thing of two of like just the time that you spend with your family. I mean, like, while yes, my puppy is here with me all the time, but it's still like I like giving him certain time in the day. My husband, when he comes home, and it's like if I'm like always doing something like I'm going in the other direction when they're home and it's like family time, like that's always like a struggle. So
Yeah,
you're always trying to figure out like how
yeah,
to put the right time in the right place.
and in my opinion, Kara, I feel like puppy is a kid.
Yes,
So don't say that I don't have a
it
kid. You
definitely
have
is
a
these.
kid.
Now he's definitely my fur baby. Yes, it's definitely my fur child, and it requires and he wants attention, and
Yes,
he
yeah.
wants yeah, and and that's what I want to give. So, all right, so let's talk about who, or what has influenced you in your life.
So I think, I mean, it's a very weird thing to say, but I think one of the thing influenced me is, like, many people have one person who influence
Hmm.
people, like mother, father.
Hmm. Hmm.
But the one of the thing influenced me is in my family in general. Nothing about my mother, father, because
Hmm.
we have a joint family. We have like 30 people living together in India.
Hmm.
It's
Hmm.
a different whole scenario. But since there are 30 people, I truly felt that one of the thing is lacking is the discipline in my life.
Hmm.
Discipline in a way that, like you, right? I need to do this interview by this time, no matter what. That's a discipline. That's six discipline. That's six determination. And um, I truly felt that influenced me a lot, because while I was growing up, I was studying architecture.
Hmm.
Truly felt that that's one thing is lacking in general in a family dynamics. Like,
Hmm.
there are 30 people, so whenever people come and eat, whenever people go, and that kind
Hmm.
of. So I like to have a discipline in my life,
Hmm.
and I wanted to create something for myself, which says it's mine. Like it's not
Mhm.
my job, you know? So
Right.
I think the family dynamics influence me to um to have a discipline in my life. And
Mhm.
I felt like a business can be the perfect thing where I can implement my discipline. I can be determined for myself. If this is gonna fail, it's me. If this is
Mhm.
gonna be not fail, it's me.
Mhm.
You know, it's all me because I
Right.
implement discipline. I implement determination on this effort. So I think sometimes I never I mean you might have interviewed multiple people, but sometimes negative influence also leads into the positive
Mhm.
results.
Mhm.
So and I should say it's a negative influence that I have seen this because I go to other my friends' place and everything is disciplined, right? Like my even my
Mhm.
husband's place, everything is like on time. And in my home, it's nothing is on time because everybody it's a 30 people schedule you have to manage. You can't be on time on everything.
Mhm. Mhm.
So I mean I'm not blaming them, but it's amazing how they run the household. But in general, I really felt that that influenced me. That influenced
Mhm.
me to be determined, be um, consistent, be disciplined about my actions, whether it's my
Mhm.
business, whether it's my 9 to 5 job, whether it's being with my family. But that's really influenced me a lot,
Mhm.
like, in a very good way.
Yeah, yeah, I love that. Awesome. All right, let's talk about the business. So you did talk about some of the products that you offer. Tell us, what's your favorite product?
So we do have a Glow Vitamin C serum and
Mm.
Supercharged Vitamin A serum. Uh, uh, I really like my Supercharged Vitamin A serum because I'm getting older and um, I'm gonna age, and I wanted to age gracefully.
Mhm.
And our Supercharged Vitamin A serum was featured on Yoga Journal as a 31 mindful gift last November.
Okay.
So, and it has an amazing jasmine uh, absolute in it, blue yarrow. Also, it has bakuchi oil, which is my grandma used it. So that's one of my favorite product, to be honest,
Mhm.
to use on skin, especially. And I call this oil as my Netflix oil because it's a nighttime oil.
Mhm.
You apply it on and you watch TV with your loved ones.
Mhm.
So and it so bakuchi oil is very much uh, good when it comes to you wanted to look for natural alternative for retinol.
Mhm.
So retinol is a lab-based ingredient, and it's a man-made ingredient. So it comes with its own jargon such as allergies and sensitivity and things like that. And if you are totally going into the natural route, I would truly suggest something with the bakuchi oil. Um, and if you are into anti-aging treatment. So
Mhm.
yeah, that's my one of my favorite product, to be honest.
Yeah, I like it. Of course, the health and beauty and wellness industry has evolved. It is always evolving. So, a couple of questions for you. One, how do you stay up to date on the latest trends and innovations? And B, where do you think or where do you see the industry heading, evolving over the next few years?
So I um I go very cheap route, frankly. I make sure that I'm subscribed to few of those magazines.
Hmm.
Toiletry and Cosmetics is one of the magazine that you can subscribe, and they will send you the newsletter, which I read very religiously. Happy is another magazine, which is also online too, where you can find out that which brand is doing what and where the industry is heading. The other third source is a magazine called Beauty Independent. It's the magazine which is truly based for indie beauty, and that's really good one because you will know where all indie brands are, who acquired the investment, who is
Mhm.
opening a store, and things like that. So that's how I keep on my
Mhm.
my track of, okay, this is what happening, this is what happening, this is what happening.
Mhm.
Um, and the other part of question was where the beauty industry is heading.
Mhm.
So I felt like clean beauty is like a new norm.
Mhm.
Clean meaning, and and frankly, the clean beauty is very subjective terms because it can be anything. It's not a regulated term. So every beauty industry or every brand in beauty industry can make their own term. I have seen that some of the beauty brand, which I'm not going to name anyone, but I have seen some of the beauty brand, they call themselves clean brand, but if you look at their ingredient list, you see phenoxyethanol as a preservative, and that's not a clean ingredient in
Mhm.
my opinion if you look at into EWG website.
Mhm.
So uh, where it's heading, I felt like, I think minimal ingredient trend is that's where the people are going towards. People do not want to see a long list of ingredients which they cannot even pronounce, they cannot even say.
Mhm.
They would rather have a clean transparency or pure transparency when it comes to the ingredient. I think that's where the industry is leading. And in my opinion, that's called sustainable beauty.
Mhm.
So that's where I feel like the industry is leading towards. I have
Mhm.
seen so many brands now getting into that, including my own. So yeah.
Okay, awesome. Ruchita, tell everyone how they can find your products and connect to you online.
So if you want to connect me through Instagram, my handle is at shop green beauty go. And if you want to find my product, it's www.greenbeautyco.com. It's like all single word. And currently, what we are doing is if you order something, we are sending you a free gift of every order. So it's limited time. It's only last, I don't know how much, but it's a very limited quantity. So
Mhm.
if you or your readers are looking forward for that, please go and check that out, my website, and you'll be surprised. It's all about after sun care.
Awesome.
It's a little
All right.
free.
Well, we'll make sure we drop all those links in the show notes. All right. So now we're going to transition quickly into three things with your Cheeto. I'm going to ask you three questions that just helps the audience get to know you a little bit better. The first question is a two-parter. How do you start and end the day?
I think how I started. So I start with my tongue scraping,
Mhm.
and so I have my tongue scraper. And the second thing, I start with my a really nice hydrating oil, which is my glow serum.
Mhm. So, and then how do you end the day?
Sorry.
How do you end your day? Is that with the oil? Is that how you end?
Yeah, yeah,
Okay, awesome.
yeah.
I like it. Okay. So it's a wellness on both ends.
Yes.
Yes. All right. Awesome. Number two, what's a goal or an intention that you set for yourself this year?
So the goal and intention is, so every year I come up with one word and I stick to
Mhm.
that.
Mhm.
So this year I came up with the word called consistency,
Mhm.
because I wanted to build consistency when it comes to the emails I send it to my subscribers, or
Mhm.
whether it's like bringing new products. So that's the goal I set for myself. I do not
Mhm.
set any measurable goals that, oh, I'm going to have
Mhm.
basically 500K worth of revenue
Yeah.
or something like that. Instead of that, I do very mindful
Mhm.
goals, and that's like consistency is my goal of
Yes.
this.
Awesome. All right. And the last question is, where are you currently finding inspiration?
So, oh my God, it's so many, like so many people. No, seriously, it's I'm
Yeah.
not being um one of the inspirational thing that I find is podcasts like you, frankly. That's where I find inspirations that where what other entrepreneurs are doing.
Mhm.
Um, the other podcast I really like is, and I think everybody knows about that Gyrl's podcast, How I Built This.
Mhm.
That's where I get my inspiration a lot. And books, like so many
Yeah.
books. Like I really
Mhm.
like the book called 5 a.m. Club.
Oh, uh-huh. Yeah.
Yeah, I really
Mm.
like that one. Um, Good to Great, that's another one. So that's where I found my inspiration,
Mhm.
frankly, from
Awesome.
good book and a podcast.
Okay, awesome. Love that. All right. Well, Ruchita, this has been fantastic talking with you. I want to thank you again. And the last question I have for you is what are three things that you'd like this audience to take away from our conversation today?
Well, I feel like number one is entrepreneurship is balancing act, and you are going with the mindset that you're gonna face the hurdle and you will overcome it in a positive way. So that mindset is needed. Number two is growth is always slow. So make your intentions and goals in that way, which you can feel happy about it. I'm not
Mhm.
saying use like the goal needs to be lower, but goal needs to be more um like intentional.
Mhm.
So that's number two. And number three is please do your skincare. I think skincare is not like a, one of those luxury things you should do. It's skincare is skincare. You know, it's like
Mhm.
washing your face every single day with my neem soap or any other soap or any other cleanser which is non-toxic. Please use non-toxic and have nice moisturizer. I think this is your time where you have to reclaim your own time. So
Mhm.
please do that.
Awesome. Awesome. I love that. Well, Ruchita, thank you so much for joining the show today. And best of luck to you and all that you are touching. And, I'll be over here thinking and rooting for you and being able to balance as
Thanks,
well.
Kyra. It was really nice talking to you as well. Thank you.
Awesome. Well, stay tuned, everyone. I'll be right back.